There is a fan that cools your entire house using 200 watts. Your central air conditioner pulls 3,000 to 5,000 watts. That is 1/10 the energy. The fan costs $200 to $600. No compressor, no refrigerant, no ductwork, no service contract. And unlike your air conditioner, which dies in 15 to 20 years and asks you to spend another $5,000, this fan just keeps going. Decade after decade. It is called a whole house fan. It was the standard way Americans cooled their homes for the first half of the 20th century. Then around 1960, we stopped using it. Not because it failed. Not because anyone tested it and found it wanting. This is what it does, what it costs, and why you have almost certainly never been told about it. So here's how this works, and I want you to notice how simple it is compared to what is sitting outside your house right now. Evening comes. The sun drops. The outside air cools to 65, maybe 70 degrees. You open a few windows, 4 to 6 inches is enough, and flip a switch. The fan is mounted in your ceiling, usually in a central hallway, venting straight up into the attic. It pulls cool night air in through every open window in the house. Not recycled air, pushed through the same dirty ducts your system has been circulating all day. Actual outdoor air, streaming through the bedroom, the hallway, the kitchen. You feel the breeze the moment you turn it on. Not in 15 minutes, the way your air conditioner takes to bring a warm house down. Seconds. Meanwhile, the air that has been baking in your attic all day, 130, 140 degrees, gets blasted out through the roof vents in minutes. That attic was radiating heat down through your ceiling all afternoon. Your air conditioner was running a marathon against it. The fan eliminates it in minutes. But here's the part most people miss. The fan is not just cooling the air, it is cooling the house itself. The walls, the floors, the furniture, everything in your home holds heat, and that mass has been soaking it up all day. A house that ran air conditioning all night cooled the air, but not the walls. By 10 a.m., those walls are radiating yesterday's heat back into every room, and the compressor kicks on again. A house that ran a whole house fan cooled the walls themselves. By 10 a.m., those walls are still absorbing heat instead of creating it. The structure holds. Noon, still comfortable. 2 p.m., still holding. That is thermal mass cooling. Your air conditioner manufactures cold air from scratch using a compressor and a chemical refrigerant. This fan moves air that is already cold. That is why the energy gap is 10 to 1. Let me put some numbers on what that gap actually costs you. During summer, your air conditioning compressor is the single biggest electricity draw in your house. Bigger than your water heater, your dryer, everything. A central air conditioning system runs $3,000 to $7,000 installed. Monthly summer bills land between $150 and $350 depending on your climate. The average American household spends $300 to $550 a year on cooling alone, and the unit lasts 15 to 20 years. Over a 30-year mortgage, you are buying 2 of them. That is $6,000 to $14,000 just in replacement costs. Before you count the annual service calls, the refrigerant recharges, the filter changes, the duct cleaning, the lifetime cost of air conditioning. A house is not a number most people have ever added up. There is a reason for that. A whole house fan costs $200 to $600 for the unit. Most homeowners install it themselves in half a day. It goes in a ceiling opening with some attic venting. It draws 200 to 700 watts, depending on the size and speed. Monthly operating cost, even running it every night, is $10 to $30. At California electricity rates, running a central air conditioning system costs about 67 cents per hour. Running a whole house fan on low costs 1.8 cents per hour. On high, it costs 6.5 cents per hour. That is 10 to 37 times cheaper. Same house, same evening. The fan pays for itself in a single cooling season. Then it keeps paying you back the next summer, and the one after that. No refrigerant to recharge, no compressor to replace, no 15-year expiration date. With that understood, here's who has actually tested this. Pacific Gas and Electric, PG&E, one of the largest utilities in the United States, states that whole house fans use up to 90% less energy than compressor-based air conditioning. That is not a manufacturer claim. That is the utility company that bills you for the electricity, telling you there is a cheaper way to stay cool. The Florida Solar Energy Center ran a field study on a real occupied home in Cocoa Beach, Florida. Not a lab, not a simulation, a concrete blockhouse in one of the most hot and humid climates in the country. Researcher Danny Parker measured everything: thermocouples on the walls, sub-meters on the air conditioning compressor, data loggers recording every 15 minutes across the entire summer. On moderate days, the whole house fan cut air conditioning energy use by 65%. On the hottest days, it still saved 10%. And on any day where the average temperature stayed below 75 degrees Fahrenheit, the fan handled all the cooling by itself. No air conditioning needed in Florida. And then there is California. In 2014, the California Energy Commission wrote whole house fans into the building code. Title 24, the state's energy efficiency standard, requires whole house fans in new residential construction across 7 climate zones, covering Sacramento, Fresno, Pasadena, Riverside, and most of the Central Valley. The state looked at the data, looked at the energy savings, and wrote it into law. One state did this, the other 49 have not. That number, one state out of 50, stopped me, because this is not a new technology, it is not an experiment. It is one of the oldest cooling systems in America. Thomas Jefferson designed Monticello with a large central hall, aligned windows, and an octagonal cupola at the top of the house, specifically to draw hot air up and out through natural convection. The same principle was at work across the region. No electricity, no fan, just architecture shaped around moving air. Before air conditioning existed, every home in the American South was designed this way. Breezeways ran through the center of the house. Shotgun layouts were oriented so wind passed through every room. Sleeping porches on the second floor let families sleep on summer nights with screen doors swinging, and the sound of crickets louder than anything mechanical. The electric whole house fan appeared in the early 1900s. By the 1940s and 50s, it became the standard way Americans cooled their homes. There was nothing else. Then air conditioning went residential. And here is the thing. Air conditioning was genuinely impressive. It worked in every climate. It worked at 2 in the afternoon in August. It did not need you to open windows or close them at the right time. You set a thermostat and forgot about it. The fan could not compete on convenience. So developers stopped installing fans. Contractors stopped mentioning them. Supply chains reorganized around ductwork, compressors, and refrigerant. Homes became more tightly sealed. Windows stopped opening as far. And within one generation, the whole house fan went from standard to forgotten. Not because it stopped working, because something more convenient came along, and that something happened to cost 10 times more to operate. Now here is something your air conditioner is not doing for you, and it is worth knowing. Your air conditioner recirculates the same air through the same ducts over and over. It cools it, pushes it out, pulls it back, and cools it again. The air in your house right now has been through that loop hundreds of times. EPA's own data says that the air inside your sealed, air-conditioned home is 2 to 5 times more polluted than the air outside. Dust, pet dander, volatile organic compounds released from your furniture and carpet. Cooking particles, carbon dioxide from your family breathing all day in a sealed box. A whole house fan replaces the entire air volume of your home in 3 to 4 minutes. Every cycle, the stale air goes out through the attic, and fresh outdoor air comes in through the windows. During COVID, EPA specifically noted that whole house fans help reduce airborne virus transmission by increasing ventilation with outside air. Your air conditioner keeps you cool inside a closed loop. This fan keeps you cool, and it flushes that loop out. And there is another benefit that almost nobody talks about. Every hour your air conditioner compressor does not run is an hour of wear that it does not accumulate. Startup cycles, the moment the compressor kicks on, are the hardest stress on the system. That is when most failures happen. A whole house fan cuts your compressor's runtime by half or more. Fewer cycles, fewer refrigerant leaks, fewer capacitor failures, fewer mid-season breakdowns. You are not just saving on electricity. You are adding years to a machine that costs $5,000 to $7,000 to replace. And while the fan is running, it is doing something to your attic that your air conditioner never touches. Your attic sits at 130 to 160 degrees on a summer afternoon. That heat does not just make your house hot, it degrades your roof from underneath. Asphalt shingles being baked from both sides deteriorate faster, lose granules, and become brittle years before their rated lifespan. Shingle manufacturers can void your warranty if they find evidence of inadequate attic ventilation. A whole house fan drops that attic temperature by 30 to 50 degrees every evening. Less heat stress on your roof every night, all summer. You're protecting a roof replacement that would cost $10,000 to $15,000 without even thinking about it. All right, a few things worth being honest about, because if I oversell this, you will stop trusting me. And this channel only works if you can trust what you hear here. A whole house fan works when the outside air is cooler than the inside air. That means evenings, nights, and early mornings. You are not running this at 2 p.m. in July. This is the tool that handles the other 14 hours, the ones your air conditioner is grinding through because nobody thought to offer you an alternative. In dry climates with big day-to-night temperature swings, for example, California, Colorado, the Mountain West, and the Great Plains, the thermal mass effect from running the fan overnight keeps the house comfortable well into the afternoon. In those climates, the fan can handle the entire cooling season by itself, or nearly so. That is where the 90% number comes from. The Building America Solution Center, a Department of Energy resource, says the ideal conditions are nighttime temperatures below 67 degrees and a day-to-night swing of 20 degrees or more. That describes a huge portion of the western and northern United States for 3 to 5 months of the year. In humid climates like the Southeast and the Gulf Coast, the usable window is smaller. Pulling in moist night air can make the house feel muggy even if the temperature drops. In those regions, the fan earns its keep during the shoulder seasons, spring and fall, and cuts weeks or months off the time your air conditioner has to run during summer. Even in Cocoa Beach, Florida, the Florida Solar Energy Center measured meaningful savings. Not 90%, but enough to pay for the fan many times over. None of these are deal breakers, but they are worth knowing before you cut the ceiling open. Old whole house fans had a reputation for noise, loud and rattling and vibrating. That was a real problem, and it is why many people in older homes had them removed. Modern units run at 40 to 52 decibels, about the volume of a quiet conversation. The quietest models hit 37 decibels, closer to a whisper than a dishwasher. You can sleep through it. The fan opening in your ceiling does create a question in winter, because it is essentially a hole to the attic. Modern units come with insulated dampers that seal automatically when the fan shuts off. Older models without a damper need a winterization insert that costs $30 to $50 and takes about 10 minutes to install. Installed and insulated, it seals until spring. Even in cold months, the fan can be useful. On a mild afternoon run, if for 5 minutes to flush stale air, including cooking smells, off-gassing, and the stuffiness that builds in a closed-up home. Windows open, fan on, air replaced, fan off, windows closed. The house barely loses a degree. The fan requires a few open windows, which raises a fair question about security in single-story homes. The windows only need to open 4 to 6 inches, not enough for a person to fit through. Standard window locks can hold that gap. Newer systems offer motorized actuators that open the windows when the fan turns on and lock them shut when it powers down. Because the fan pulls in outdoor air, keep it off on days when air quality is poor, such as wildfire smoke, high pollen, or heavy pollution. On those days, air conditioning earns its keep. Do not run the fan and the air conditioning at the same time. The fan needs open windows, and air conditioning needs a sealed house. Running both is fighting yourself. If you have an older gas furnace or water heater with open combustion, the kind that draws air from the room, a powerful whole house fan can create enough negative pressure to pull exhaust gases back into the house. That is called backdrafting. The remedy is a carbon monoxide detector, and ideally sealed combustion appliances, which modern building code already encourages. If your gas appliances were installed in the last 15 years, this almost certainly does not apply to you. Now picture a Wednesday evening in July. You have been at work all day. The house is warm. You walk in and flip a switch. Within seconds, cool air is moving through the hallway. Real night air at 66 degrees is flowing across your skin. You walk to the bedroom, and the sheets are cool when you pull them back. The ceiling fan you usually need on high is off. The house is not just cold, it is quiet. No compressor humming outside the window, no ductwork ticking, just the low, even sound of the fan in the attic, barely louder than the breeze it is pulling through. By the time you fall asleep, the house is 67 degrees and the air conditioning has not turned on once. No meter spinning, no refrigerant cycling, no electricity running through that condenser coil. Just cool air moving through a house that is doing what every house in America used to do before we decided cooling had to be complicated. Morning comes. You close the windows and shut the fan off. The tile floor feels cold under your feet. The walls are cool to the touch. You make coffee and realize sometime around noon that you forgot to turn the air conditioning on, because you did not need it. The house held. That evening you do it again. For the cost of running a couple of light bulbs, you are cooling the same house that cost your neighbor $300 a month. Your compressor is resting. Your roof is lasting longer. Your air is cleaner. And the fan that makes all of that happen costs less than a single service call on the machine it is quietly replacing. Whole house fans cooled this country for half a century. The physics did not change. The fan did not change. We just forgot about it when something more convenient came along. Something that cost 10 times more to run and had to be replaced twice over a mortgage. The data has been sitting in the same studies, the same utility reports, the same building codes for decades. The fan has been sitting on the same shelf for even longer. The only thing that was ever missing was someone telling you it was there. If you are the kind of person who thinks the best solutions are not always the newest ones, you are in the right place. Hit subscribe. The next one goes deeper.